What's up as far as China-US trade is concerned? The answer is nothing's up.
John Quelch is here. He is the Dean of the University of Miami Business School.
Let's bring in our guest, John Quelch, who is the Dean of the Miami Business School at the University of Miami.
The Chinese are playing the usual long game, biding their time, adding complexity and layers of detail to every negotiation on every piece of minutiae around intellectual property, market access, technology transfer, cybersecurity, on and on. And meanwhile, Rome is burning. In other words, nothing's changing in terms of the landscape. The one thing the Chinese have done recently is they have promulgated a new foreign direct investment law, supposedly making it easier for foreign investment to come in, especially in the area of financial services. That's an area that's very interesting to United States companies. But two things. First of all, the Chinese have promulgated many laws previously protecting intellectual property, for example, but that doesn't mean that the laws are necessarily enforced in the courts. It doesn't necessarily mean that 2,000 miles away from Beijing, the laws are respected. And it doesn't mean that if an American company takes a Chinese company to court, that even if they get redress, the redress is going to be sufficient to make it worth their while having invested all of the time and effort in the process. So basically, we're nowhere better off than we were at the beginning of this whole process. Let's face it, when it came to the March 1st deadline, who set the deadline? President Trump set the deadline, and then as the deadline approached, the trip regarding North Korea was made to Vietnam, distracting everybody from the fact that March 1 was going to come and go with the red line having been crossed, but no further escalation occurred. Now, a further escalation in the trade war on March 1 would have been a very bad thing for the markets, for capitalism, for China, and for the United States. But the fact was that the gauntlet was thrown down, but when the deadline came, it came and went without any action. So that then, of course, emboldens the other side in any negotiation to think that maybe if we just string it out, just play our standard delay tactic game, we're going to be able to enjoy the benefits of the current system for that much longer. And basically, the president is correct. There's no doubt that there have been egregious and sustained violations of WTO principles since China entered the WTO. Initially, that was dismissed as, well, they're still a developing economy, they haven't really developed their institutions, the rule of law is still a little bit dodgy, and so for many years they were given a pass. And the size of the Chinese market was such that they were allowed to be given a pass because many U.S. corporations would lobby in Washington to be able to get market access, saying, hey, we're making it work, we're making money, please don't rock the boat. But if you think about it, it's kind of like a small child who's been, getting away with bad behavior for a long time. It's very difficult to then get the child to change its behavior. But at the same time, I think there may be other factors that will bring the Chinese to the table. And many people in China are now no longer imitating U.S. products, they're innovating. And it's always been said that once the Chinese start innovating, they will want IP protection. And the IP protection that they want will, of course, then benefit others who are operating in that market. So there is a sense in which the maturation of the Chinese economy will itself have a self-disciplining and self-correcting impact on some of these issues. But I do think that overall we've got a very difficult situation now, and one which really isn't any better than it was when the president initiated this effort.